We thank you. On the bottom line, right? Kufi Gimal, we got up to the two dots. Also, should have pointed this out yesterday's daf. We had this before. Taisus, because the Gemara said yesterday, the Gemara is trying to figure out the two. Right, there's two psukim that talk about Yerusha that transfers over from one sheva to the other sheva. One is it can transfer through the husband, and one is that it can transfer through the son. So we're trying to figure out which pasuk means which. So the Gemara says, "Oh, this pasuk says ish, so it must mean the husband." I mean, the other pasuk means the son. Then the Gemara says, "Well, but both psukim say ish." So then he said, "Okay, then the pasuk says yidbaku, right? Davuk." So he said, "Oh, both psukim say davuk." So what's going on over here? I mean, these are too obvious. These questions, right? It's too obvious. I mean, how did I know? Right? So Taisus says, "Pa'amim shaloi." The top Taisus, "Pa'amim shaloi hayu bekim b'psukim." They were not bekim and psukim. They, for all those of us who don't, especially, will probably spend a lot of time Yom Tov Hashem with seminary girls who might say psukim and this and that. No, look at that. The Tanoim. Sometimes they just didn't have. They weren't people. And this is chumash. This is not nach. Right? I said whatever Taisus means, and Taisus is marach on this exactly to prove it, or not to prove it. But it's very interesting.
And they didn't have to know all the Rambams and the Reb Chaims either.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that Taisus, top Taisus. Fine. Okay. On the bottom line, Bnei Achois. So we said that nephews. Nephews can yarshin, right? So Tana b'nei achois v'loy b'nois achois. The sons of the guy's sister. Obviously, we're talking about with a father. There's no father around. There's no brothers. So then the sister's kids will yarshin, right? We say only the sister's sons, not the sister's daughters. Anton bebeis. So we're asking my hilchasa. What's the halacha? All right. Meaning we know that a woman is yarshins from her mother. Right? And we know that a mother yarshins from her brother if there's nobody else around. So then the girl is going to be yarshin her mother. And he was saying only the sons yarshin and not the daughters. What do you mean? It could very well be that the daughters will end up yarshining if there's no sons. Right? So Rav Shesha, meaning so there's no, so what's the question? Yeah, so the Gemara says, Amar Rav Sheshes lekadim. It means that he has kadima. The sons have kadima. Meaning, what's the case? The guy dies, and his father's dead. So then it goes to his sister, and he has no brothers. So then it goes to the sister. Now the sister's dead. The sister has kids. Right? So the boys will have kadima over the girls. Right? That's the way it goes. Right? So he has kadima. So fine. So Tani Rav Shmuel Bar Rav Yitzchak Kamedu Rav Huna. It says v'yorish. It says the word v'yorish, and there's inheritance. Makish Yerusha Shniel Yerusha Rishayim. We have a hekesh from the second Yerusha to the first Yerusha. My Yerusha Rishayna. Just like for the first Yerusha, Ben Koydem Labas, the son always goes first. Af Yerusha Shnia, Ben Koydem Labas. In the Yerusha Shnia, also the son goes first. Meaning, this first level Yerusha, that would be kids, father, that, and then you have, if they're not around, so then you go down to the next generation. We're going to see in tomorrow's daf, or maybe we'll get to it today. I don't know. That you can go all the way up until the Shvatim for Yerusha, and you just keep going, right? So the second level. Yerusha has the same thing, that boys go first. Fine. Tani Rabba Bar Chanina Kamed Rab Nachman. It says on the day that he inherits his kids. During the day we do inheritance. We don't do inheritance, but Right, so Amalei Abaya, Elamayata Deshacha Biyamama, who the Yarsi Lebene, Man Deshacha Bilelia, Lo Yarsi Lebene. What do you mean to say? What do you mean you only do Yerusha during the day and not at night? That means if a guy dies at night, there's Yerusha. If he dies during the day, there's no Yerusha. That can't be.
Why
So
can't
then
you wait till the Yerusha for 6 more hours until the morning? Or 12 hours? Why can't you wait for the Yerusha to be done until the morning?
What?
American courts don't have courts in the night at night. You have to wait till the morning. Why would that be so crazy?
No, it seems to be saying. Well, the Gemara is thinking Havamina that. What could it mean if the guy dies? Right?
They have to make a plane.
They have to make a plane to where?
Eretz to bury the father.
No, meaning the Gemara's Havamina right now is that it has to do with when the guy dies. That's what the Gemara's thinking. Right? So, well, that's the Gemara's Havamina. The Gemara is obviously not going to think that. So the Gemara says, Dilma din nachlos kamet. Maybe the din of nachlos is what we're saying. The Tanya, it says it's going to be Yisrael for a chukah of a mishpat. Oira kol parsha kula liyas din. So I'm not exactly sure how to touch the word oira. The Rashbam says ma'oira, from a happening. Meaning, I don't understand how it fits in, but meaning we're going to make it happen that the whole parsha of Yerusha has the same din as din. Meaning Yerusha you would think is just, okay, what's the big deal? The guy dies and he gives over Yerusha. Right? To say no, it has the din of how do you say it? It has a din like a bezdin. It has the mamash the same din as a bezdin. So what does this mean? Look at the Rabbi Yehuda. Damer Rabbi Yehuda shloisha shenichnasu levakar zechayla. 3 people that go in to be mevakar zechayla. Meaning this is what we call a shchiv meira. So he's going to go in and give commands to people of what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed. What they could do with his money. So 3 people come in. Rotzu kaisvin. If they want, they could write down in a shtar and they could be Eidim. Meaning they have the option. They could be Eidim or whatever the guy says, so then they can carry out his last will and testament. Ratu Aisin din, but if they want, because it's 3 people. So they have a choice. They could either be Dayanim or they could be Eidim, whichever they want. But Shnayim, if there's only 2 that went in, so Kaisin, they can only write Bein Aisin din. Obviously, they can't make din because they're not a Bezdin. This is only during the day. On Tomid Aleph, Al-Balayla, these blood are very good for an Erev 3-day Yom Tov. Yeah, Ava Balayla, and if you're not doing Rashbams and Taisis. Ava Balayla, but if it's at night, Afilu Shloisha Kaisin, then 3 can only write. Bein Oisin, then they can't do din. Right? They can only, now why? Because we don't do, Bezdin doesn't sit at night. So what are these 3 guys supposed to do? They go into the Shemira at night. So what are they supposed to do? So then they can only be Eidim and they can't make din. Why? My time at the Havalu Eidim, because they're only Eidim since they can't be Dayanim. And okay, good. So let them be the Eidim at night. And then when the day, sort of like what David was saying, and then during the day, they'll become Dayanim. Right? What's the big deal? Right? So why can't they do that? So the answer is because an aid nasa diet, because an aid cannot become a diet. Once somebody is an aid, we're going to see this next Masechet Hashem Sanhedrin. So then he's not eligible to be a diet. So since these guys were all there at night, all the 3 of them, they're there at night. So now they're signed up as aidim. So then they can't go and make a din the next day. So Malay, so he said to him, and yes, Hachanami Kamina, that's exactly what I meant. Meaning, I didn't mean that a person is going to have. I didn't mean that a person that dies during the day has a Yerusha and one that dies at night doesn't. Right. Meaning, it's just that if they go in for the Shrimetz, meaning it's a very unique case that he's talking about. He just said that Yerusha is only during the day and not at night, but it's talking about a very unique case where it was a Shrimera and they went in that night and they can't be Eidim, so they can't be Dayanim. All right. Fine. So then the Gemara says Itmar. So now we get into, because of this last brisa, because of this last brisa of the three people going in. So then we bring up a raya from this brisa. Itmar kinyan ad ein masay chayzer. So a kinyan, which normally kinyan means a kinyan chalipin, right? Which we do, with we haven't had this in a while. The kinyan that you do with the rabbi by the mechiras chametz, or by the chasen's tish, you give over a handkerchief or a pen, and they give over whatever it is they're being cut. So how long do you have to change your mind on that, right? Yeah. So, and I must say chayzer. Until when can you be chayzer? Rabbi Amar calls manche yoshmi. They're allowed to be chayzer as long as they're sitting there. Meaning they're sitting around the table. They do a kinyan chalipin. They do the deal. And then they're sitting around schmoozing, right? So as long as they're sitting there, excuse me, got to get coughing, so I feel like I have an excuse if I don't sleep in the sukkah. So Kozman Yoshvin, as long as they're sitting there, the guy could say, you know what, I'm backing out of the deal.
Even though the kinyan was effective.
What?
Even though they did the kinyan, it was effective already. But he could still back out.
Correct. They did a kinyan, they could back out from the kinyan as long as they're, because it's not like a meshicha or a hagbah. It's less of a kinyan. I don't know if that's exactly the lumdis. All right.
I was kind of going to ask the same thing. The Gemara asks Amosai. It's a double question. First, you need to tell me that you can back out. Then you can ask how long you have. Maybe if it takes you can back out. That's first.
What? Well, the Gemara is assuming that you could back out.
I know, but from where? Which kinyan can you back out? All of a sudden here we have a kinyan. Oh,
right.
Okay.
So
how long you have to back out?
And a chanami. So normally you're asking regular kinyanim, you can't back out. So Vasep is here, right? So in the footnote in the art scroll, it's the Erev Yom Tov, so that's how we go with the preparing, right? The footnote in the art scroll, they bring interesting thing. They bring a couple of rishonim, but they said this has only been negate to chalipin, because chalipin is a chick-chak kinyan. You take off your yarmulke, take it, finish, and there's not much thought. But the other kinyanim enochanami, the other kinyanim, this doesn't work. Right? Fine. But anyways, that's the machlokes. So again, the Rabbah holds as long as they're sitting there. Rabbi Yosef says as long as they're being Isaac and non-Indian. So Amar Yosef Kavasidi Mustavra. Rabbi Yosef says I have a raya to mind that as long as they're being Isaac and non-Indian, they can still change their minds. Amar Yehuda Shloisha Shenichus Levakar as a chayla. 3 people that go into be Mevakar chayla Ratzu Kaisen. If they want, they could write Ratzu Eisen Din, like our case, right? They can either be Dayanim, they could be Adam. And if you say that you can back out as long as they're sitting there, maybe the person who's sick might change his mind. Meaning, how can you say that they're sitting there, they become Dayanim? Right? They could just paskin it. You can't paskin it. The guy might 5 minutes later say, oh, I'm backing out. Right? So yeah, so it must be that you can't back out. Once you change in Yonim, you can't back out. So that must be what the case is. You go to the person that's dying, you say, what's the story here? And you find, and then you go on to the next subject, which is, I don't know, where he wants to be buried or something like that. Once you move on to...
And that's the same as Chalipin? Why is that the same as Chalipin? Why is that a proof for Chalipin? Chalipin's a different type of kinyan. It's not the same as this.
What?
Why is this related to Chalipin? Chalipin is a different type of kinyan. This is something, if the guy backs out of something, why is this the same as Chalipin?
No,
no,
it's not. He's just bringing a raya that you can't say that these guys could be Dayanim. Meaning, let's say 3 guys are sitting there, they're coming to visit this guy who's dying. And they say to him, no, what's doing? He says, oh, I want you to help me out. So I want my money to go here, there, right? So they say, okay, we're a bezdin, shine, right? Then they sit there, right? How do you know that they can't? How do you know they can't change their minds? How? Maybe he's going to change his mind, right? How do you know he's not going to change his mind? How can you go paskin it if he's changing his mind, right? Hold on a second. What's the issue?
It was like purple, yellow.
What you talking about here? Did it fall?
Fell out and hit the thing. When I saw it afterwards.
I think it's good.
Still, even though it's gone.
Make sure you shake somebody else's tomorrow to be safe. After that, sure, okay.
Did you ever?
No, I know it looks good to me, but just in case, you know. Okay, sorry. But anyway, so meaning David, does that make sense? Meaning if Kozman is sitting there, the guy could change his mind. How can you make a bezdin? How can you make a bezdin? Let's change.
That I understand, but what does this have to do with? Is this a proof for Khalifin?
What?
Is this the proof for Khalifin that Khalifin is allowed to be switched?
No,
Is allowed to be backed out?
You mean why? I mean, what does this have to do with the Khalifin? Meaning maybe.
Yeah, are we comparing this to Khalifin?
Yes, we are. You have to. No.
But why? Why does this type of kinyan, this with the dayonim, what does that have to do with a kinyan of Khalifin?
No, because I think that's the kinyan that they do.
That's the
it's
way
talking about.
That's the way they do this with dayonim is a Khalifin thing.
How else? Usually, that's what we do with the mechiras chametz. The same thing. That's anytime you have where you can't do a kinyan. The guy's still alive, right?
Okay, because it doesn't say anywhere that that's a Khalifin. It just that it doesn't say that. But if you're saying that's the kinyan, then okay.
Yes, there has to be that they're doing it with a kinyan with Khalifin. That's normally the kinyan that's done. Yeah, that's what I'm assuming that there was a Khalifin done there. Right? Fine. Anyway, so that's what Rabbi Yosef's raya. I'm Rav Ashi. I'm Risa L'Shmaitza Kamedu Rav Kahana. I said over in front of Kahana, but the Rabbi Yosef minicha, and does it make sense even according to Rabbi Yosef? Meaning Rabbi Yosef was bringing as a raya to him that as long as once they change subjects, then you can no longer change your mind. So now the Gemara is saying even Rabbi Yosef doesn't make sense. Right? Why do you have to be concerned that maybe he changed his mind? What are you going to say that he didn't change his mind? The Yasliku, Anton Beis now, the Yasliku me and Yona Linyana, you're going to say that they changed from one Indian to another Indian, so maybe they can no longer change their mind. So Achanami, the Kamu Bahadar Yasi. But what happened was that the Bezdin came into this guy that's dying. He gave him the directives of where he wants all his money going. They stood up, which means now they stood up, so that's the end. Right? And then they sat back down. So that's considered a new yeshiva, and Mamela, they cannot change their mind. The Hilchos say the Rabbi Yosef Pesada, Inyan Umerza. And the halachas, there's three machlokes with Rabbi Yosef, and all three of them we paskin like him. The first one is by Sadeh. Sadeh is way back when, I wish I remembered it, is that when you have a bunch of kids yarshaning the father, a kid that one of the fields of the father borders his own field, he could ask that he wants that field because like this will have a much larger field. He's entitled to do that. So that we pass on the Yosef, that's okay. And Indian is our sugi here that as long as once they change the Indian, they can't change their mind. And then Merza is a case way later in the Masechta, is where a person gave half his belongings to, he wanted half to go to his wife, half to his kid, Yerusha thing. Fine. Next Gemara, Ha'isha Espana. So a lady, how does it go again? A lady, Yashins. Well, it's not going on the first part. Anytime it says v'chulu, it goes on the next part. So a woman yarshins her son, right? Then a woman yarshins her husband, right? How's it go? Yeah. A woman yarshins her husband. No, but she only yarshins.
No, she doesn't.
Oh,
She doesn't
sorry.
yashin.
No, fakert. I'm saying the opposite. A woman does not. A woman gives to her husband and doesn't yarshin her husband, right? And mothers, brothers, the same thing. Yeah. So now the Gemara, basically the Gemara goes through the cases and says these people give Yerusha, they don't get. And then it goes in the next line of the Mishnah says the opposite. Well, it's obviously the opposite. You don't have to say the case twice. I mean, why do you have to give the list of people that can give over Yerusha but don't get a Yerusha? And then you say, and then these are the people that don't get a Yerusha and they give a Yerusha. It seems to be one case would be enough. You don't have to say it twice. So that's the Gemara's kasha. Hasul lamali, hatana le reisha. It said in the reisha, ishas imay ve'ishas ishtay, right? A man to his mother and a man to his wife. So they yarshin, but they don't give out. So why is it saying it twice? The woman with her son is the same as a woman with her husband, like we did in yesterday's daf. Ma isha's baila, just like a woman. When it goes, a woman dies, the husband yashins her. If the husband's already dead, he doesn't yashin her. So af isha's bena eina ben yarishas ima bekever. So a woman with her son, the son does not yarshin the mother when he's in the kever. Lahan, what's it negeya? Lahan chilachim and av, to give an inheritance to the brothers of the father from the father's side. Meaning, if you say that the husband yarshins the wife even after he's dead, so then his brothers will get it. Well, his kids, it could be his kids from a well, no, it's not gonna be his kids from a different wife. But his brothers from a different father will yarshin. Right?
He is
Meaning,
Yerush to be mantle to his sons, but
what?
not to his brothers. He is Yerush to be mantle to his sons, just not to his brothers. It's a halfway thing. If he dies before his mother, but he has sons, they will be Yerush through him. But it's only the brothers. If he doesn't have kids, he doesn't hold on to it in the kever that his brothers should be Yerush.
I can know you're blanking out. So what are you saying?
It's the halfway thing. He is Yerush Bekever to give to his sons, his own sons. He will not be Yerush Bekever to give to his brothers Mina Av.
Well, I hear. I'm saying, what's the standard case of this? You have a guy. How does it go? I want to make sure I don't confuse it. You have a guy who's a ben yochid. He's an only son, right? And then he has brothers from a father. He died before his mother, and then the mother died. So if he yarshins even after he dies, so then everything goes to him, and then it'll go to his brothers, right? That would be normal. So then that would be the same thing. How would it be by the son? Yeah, so the son also would, if he had brothers from a different father, son, they would also go to him, right? Right. Okay, that's basically what it is. What? Okay, I don't know. I can't hear you. I don't know if it's me or you. Fine. So I'm Rabbi Yochanan, I'm sure Rabbi Yehuda ben Reb Shimon. Rabbi Yochanan is the name of Reb Shimon. Yeah. Dvar Torah ha'av yoreshas benoi ve'isha yoreshas benoi. Mina Torah, a father yarshins his son, and a isha yarshins her son, meaning the father and the mother. Shenemar matois. It says matois. Right? So makish mata mitas mata ha'aim or mate ha'aim, the mate. We make a hekesh between the shevet of the father and the shevet of the mother. Ma mata ha'av yereshes b'noi, the father yarshins his son. Af mata ha'aim. So to the mother, isha yereshes as b'noi, the woman inherits her son. Right? Fine. So Esvei Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yehuda ben Shimon. Again, so that Bryce is saying that both parents yarshin the kids. Fine. So Esvei Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yehuda ben Shimon. We have a kasha from was our Mishnah say Isha es benov, Isha es baila. A woman gives to her son, and a woman gives to her husband. Va'achia aim, and the brothers of the mother manchilin, they give out, but they don't inherit. V'loy noichlin. So you see that a mother does not yarshin her son. So what was he saying? Amalei Mishnah Seinu Eina Yedei Mishon. I have no idea who learned it. Meaning, so I don't know. Right? So Belay Malay Reb Zachari ben Akatzav. Why don't we say it's Reb Zachari ben Akatzav? 2 blot ago, Deloy Dorish Matas. Remember, Reb Zachari ben Akatzav held that when you have a brother and a sister, that yarshin a mother, they both yarshin equally. Right? So why does Reb Zachari ben Akatzav say? He does not darshan. Well, maybe he's the one that says that we don't darshan the word matas. So Mamela, that's why the father doesn't yarshan. That's why the mother doesn't yarshan. So Gemara says, we can't say the mission is like Reb Zachari ben Akatzav. The Ketani ubnei achos, because it says, and the sons of a sister, they yarshin and they can inherit, but they don't give. V'tana, and we also learn bnei achos. It's the kids and not the daughters. So what's the reason? The whole point is for kadima. And if you think it's he holds that by the mother, they yarshin equally. Right? Meaning, if you're going to say like from Zachariah ben Akatzav, then and you're going to have to darshan it that way, then it's not going to come out that the boy gets before the girl. It has to be that they both get equal. Okay, so then the Gemara says, "V'tana didan mimanav shach," and our Tana, right? Which either way you go, idarish matois, ishanami tereshes bena. If you darshan the word matois, then a woman should be yarish her son. Eloi darish matois, and if you don't darshan matois, ben the kaidam lebas b'nichseyaim minale. A son that goes before the daughter in nichseyaim. How do you know? How do you know about it? Right? Meaning you don't have a way to darshan that the son should go first. So when it answers Lailam Darish Matas, really we do darshan Matas. So Shani Yocha here is different. The Amar Krav, a whole bas Yereshes Nachla. A daughter inherits a Nachla, Yereshes, ve'enoi moireshes. We have a pasuk that says that the daughter gets a Yerusha, but she does not give a Yerusha. Right? So Mamela what? So she's again. We're talking about where she has 2 shvatim that she's yashin. Right. So meanwhile, so we're saying that even though that she's yarish from 2 shvatim, she cannot give it out to 2. Right. She can only give 2. She can only give it to 1. Right. Okay. It's a little technical with all the drushes, but we'll stop over here. I hope we're a shtickle code. All right, so we have to do a blot and half and change. Let's say Yom Tov Hashem. All right.
Yeah. Erev Tavshilim holding your hand?
Yes, you need to make one.
You have to hold it in your hand? What do you mean?
Meaning, like eggs are in the fridge, the challah in the freezer. Do you have to hold it?
Huh?
You're supposed to make the bracha?
You should hold it. Yeah, you should hold it.
Okay.
Can't point to it?
What?
Can't just point to it?
No, you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to pick it up. I don't think it's ma'akiv.
Supposed to hold it, Shiach.
I think yeah, but I don't know if it's. I don't think it's a ma'akiv.
I don't know. That is.
I don't know.
How many times around the head you're supposed to do it?
Yeah.
Come on, Byron. A little funny?
No, no.
Yes, a little.
If he uses a raw egg and do it around your head, that would be funny.
Exactly. Well, you get just as dirty as the chickens. Huh. Oh, Tiagi, Hillen.
Did you guys
Oh, I didn't do
call
it
the
till him.
Novak?
wasn't it?
Did you call the Novaks?
I spoke to them before the Levaya. I didn't speak to them
Okay.
after the Levaya. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah, but he
mentioning.
told me, of course, Shaya texted me. He says, Shmuel Grossman made it in 18 minutes on his motorcycle, didn't stop at a traffic light. He said, you know, Taka, I was thinking, I don't know if I would have done this or not. I would have hitched a ride on the back of his motorcycle, but I'm not so sure.
I spoke to Shmuel. I like you. I called you and Shmuel. I called a few people before. I told Shmuel anything that has to do with the Chabadska Rebbe is a moifus. She's buried in Old Montefiore, Mrs. Novak. So.
What?
That's what the Lubavitcher Rebbe is.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
No, I can't because I'm doing the stickers.
Interesting.
Am I the only person in that?
Anyways. All right, we should episode of listen, they got away with it. What should I tell you?
Oh, you didn't do Hillen.
I didn't do Tillam. Oh, Tillam, Taka. Yeah. Okay. We could use the Tillam. Yeah, I don't know. Something's going on in Lebanon, my son told me. I mean, I know that, and I'm saying something like, yeah, you'd give him,